Hey my friends, I will tell you a terrifying and true story that I lived through. My new house was a fixer-upper, but I knew it was the perfect place for me. It was an old Victorian house with a wraparound porch and a turret. It sat on a hill overlooking the town, and I couldn't wait to make it my own. On the first night, I was so excited that I couldn't sleep. I lay awake in bed, listening to the creaking of the house and the wind whistling through the trees. I felt like I was in a dream. The next morning, I woke up early and started to explore my new home. I went into every room and opened every closet. I was surprised to find that the house was in better condition than I had expected. The floors were creaky, but they were solid. The walls were covered in wallpaper, but the paint was peeling in places. I decided to start my renovations in the attic. It was a large, empty room with high ceilings. I could see the potential in it, but it was going to be a lot of work. I spent the rest of the day cleaning out the attic. I threw away old furniture and boxes of junk. I found some interesting things, like an old dollhouse and a trunk full of old clothes. As I was cleaning, I noticed a strange smell. It was a metallic smell, like blood. I followed the smell to a corner of the attic. There, behind a stack of boxes, I found a trapdoor. I opened the trapdoor and peered down into the darkness. I couldn't see anything, but I could feel a cold air coming from the basement. I decided to explore the basement later. I was too tired to do any more work that day. The next day, I woke up early and went to the basement. It was dark and damp. I had to use a flashlight to see. I walked around the basement, but I couldn't find anything out of the ordinary. There was just a few old boxes and some old furniture. I was about to leave when I saw something move in the corner of my eye. I turned around, but there was nothing there. I started to feel uneasy. I decided to get out of the basement as quickly as possible. I ran up the stairs and slammed the trapdoor shut. I locked it and put a heavy box in front of it. I was so shaken up that I couldn't finish my renovations that day. I went back upstairs and sat on the couch. I tried to forget about what had happened, but I couldn't. That night, I was awakened by a noise. I sat up in bed and listened. The noise was coming from the basement. I got out of bed and went to the top of the stairs. I could hear footsteps moving around in the basement. I was terrified. I didn't know what to do. I wanted to run, but I couldn't leave my house. I stood at the top of the stairs for a long time, listening to the footsteps. Finally, the footsteps stopped. I waited a few minutes, then I slowly made my way down the stairs. I held my flashlight tightly in my hand. I reached the bottom of the stairs and peered into the darkness. I couldn't see anything. I called out, "Hello? Is anyone there?" There was no answer. I took a deep breath and started to walk through the basement. I shone my flashlight in every corner, but I couldn't see anything. I was about to give up when I saw something move in the shadows. I turned my flashlight in that direction, and I saw a pair of glowing red eyes. I screamed and dropped my flashlight. I turned and ran up the stairs. I didn't stop running until I reached my bedroom. I slammed the door shut and locked it. I crawled into bed and pulled the covers up over my head. I lay there in bed, shaking. I could still see the glowing red eyes in my mind. I didn't sleep that night. The next day, I packed up my things and left the house. I couldn't stay there any longer. I don't know what was in the basement of that house, but I know it was evil. I'm still haunted by the memories of what happened that night. I know that I'll never forget the glowing red eyes. As I left the house, I took one last look at it. It was a beautiful house, but it was also a cursed house. I knew that I would never be able to go back. I got into my car and drove away. I didn't look back.